Welcome to the Celebration of You. I'm your host, Holly Dowling. I'm thrilled to share with you incredible people from all over the world who are living and leading extraordinary lives. From overcoming immense adversity to discovering the secret sauce to leading with courage and grace. Their stories are going to bring you hope and inspiration. Now, let the stories begin. Oh, am I excited today? Boy, is this going to be exciting. This is, Kara, I have to say, before I introduce you, when I think about how we just met not too long ago, and when I get to meet people like you that are making impact around the world because you have chosen to take from your passion and give back, I just get thrilled. So can I introduce the beautiful and amazing Kara Ross? Kara, thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be on it. And thank you for inviting me. I'm really honored.
Well, I'm honored, and I know the listeners are going to be delighted when they get to hear, wow, like somebody you've lived your passion, you've done it. I can't wait to have you share the story. But not only have you lived it, and I'm not going to burst the bubble, done some incredible things, you have now chosen to create a path of giving back. And that is, to me, the celebration of you and why I have this show, Kara. So tell us, so you are the guru, right? Let's just go ahead. You'll tell us more about the past of this and what started your passion when you were a young girl, but you're a guru in the jewelry industry. So tell me, brag, tell us what you're doing.
Well, I love jewelry, and I own more of it probably because I've made more of it than probably most people. And I've been in the jewelry business for over 25 years. I went to Georgetown and graduated in '88. And about a year and a half after that, I went to Gemological Institute of America on Fifth Avenue, where I became a certified gemologist. And what that means is I'm an expert in diamonds and colored stones. And I have fine jewelry collections. I launched my first fine jewelry collection at Neiman Marcus. Then I had another fine jewelry collection. I launched it at Bergdorf's. So I've had fine jewelry. I launched a fashion jewelry line. I also launched an exotic skin handbag line, each of which had a beautiful gemstone as the closure, thereby incorporating the gemstones into the evening bags. And sold to Bergdorf's, Neiman Saks, all the best stores in this country and Harrods and Selfridges, and many other places around the world. Had an office in London for a few years. And I've done pieces. The Obamas commissioned me to do pieces for the president and the first lady.
Yeah.
I have pieces in major museums. And yeah, I love the business. I love it because I can wear it as a woman and friends can wear it. And to me, jewelry is wearable art and more powerful even than a painting that you can hang on the wall because you can't put a chain on that painting and wrap it around your neck.
Oh, I love that.
I would. Sometimes I wish I had 20 fingers and 4 ears and 4 arms because it's more surface area to put my jewelry on. But, I think jewelry tells a story unlike any other medium. If you ask almost any woman, who's wearing a piece of jewelry, how that's so pretty, she'll probably have a story, where she got it, who gave it to her, what it means to her. Perhaps she was traveling and she bought herself a present or was gifted it. Whereas if you say, oh, where did you get your car? It's, oh, I got it from the dealership down the road. Or your shoes, oh, I got it on sale at this store. And jewelry is transformative because it's a storytelling vehicle. Yeah. And it's just a beautiful, and plus it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good wearing it.
You know what? I am just literally sitting here like smiling as I'm listening to you because I'm thinking about, I never actually put it to the words you just said. How many times have people stopped if I'm wearing a certain piece of jewelry? And I can't wait to say there is a story. Like every time now I'm thinking about that, Kara, like the story behind who gave it to me, where it came from, right? Da, 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 da. So who would have ever guessed? I never thought about it as wearable art, but let's face it, you are in museums. You were commissioned to make jewelry for President Obama and the First Lady. I mean, you've taken a passion and you've been so fortunate and blessed to get to take it around the world. Tell us though, I love how this started when you were a young girl. Take us to the journey.
Well, I was very lucky. My parents traveled often and they took us with us. So when I was about 13 or 14, my mom and dad took my sister and I to Kenya on safari, which was just awesome. And they let us each pick 2 gemstones. Africa is very well known for its gemstones. And I picked 2 tourmaline, and my sister picked 2 garnets. And my mother had actually made jewelry had been making some jewelry for herself, and she had a jeweler on. It's called Jewelers Row. In Philadelphia, where I'm from, and we got back, and I was able to design my own ring and be part of the whole, process, which is, wax. You have to carve a wax, you set the stones, you cast the gold. And it was I loved it. And then obviously I wore the ring. I still have the ring. And the fine jewelry world, I think, is a very intimidating one because, obviously, A, have the costs associated with it. And then B, if you go into any of these very fancy jewelry stores, it's a double locked door, meaning it's called a man trap. You open the one door and the second door won't even open. You're locked in there, and then they see who it is and then let you in. And it's a very intimidating world, I think. And to see that I could make something at such a young age, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. I got so many compliments on it. So when I got old enough and I thought, what do I really want to do with my life? I thought, I've always loved gemstones. I always loved jewelry, and why can't I do it? And so I was very lucky, and that was a very important thing for me.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with what we're going to share with everybody here shortly, of a passion of what you're doing to give back, especially to young girls and women. Which is what really got my heart, which I love. But I have to, before we go there, Kara, now selfishly, because I'm so intrigued right now because I love diamonds. I love jewelry. So I know my listeners are going to crack up because this is what I do. You have to tell me, what is the most exotic, beautiful stone you've ever seen? Or shall we say the largest diamond or stone? Or shall we say the most expensive? Which one should we go with?
Well, honestly, I think the most unusual stone, because kind of everyone's familiar what a diamond looks like, although they come in many, many different colors. The most unusual stone that I'm totally loving right now, it's called a Paraiba tourmaline. And it's the most electric bluish green color you've seen in your life. And they are not mined anymore. They're rare. They're hard to get. They're very expensive and relatively unknown. But if you Google it and look it up, the color will pop off the page of whether you're looking on your computer or your cell phone. It's just the most electric color. So I obviously I love diamonds, but I'm totally digging this Paraiba tourmaline
okay,
right
spell
now.
it. I'm writing this down. Will you spell it for me?
P-A-R-A, Paraiba, Paraiba.
Okay.
And it's just beautiful. I don't own one yet. But I will. I will. I don't own one yet, but I will.
You will. It's coming, and I love it. Well, and for anybody, all my listeners, men, women, anybody, but when you think about as children, the experiences, and you were very blessed, as you acknowledged, they know that your parents traveled a lot and were able to take you to places. But even if it hadn't been going to Africa and finding that stone, that passion started in you as a young woman because you were exposed to something that triggered, I call them the butterflies on our shoulders, right? Things that as young people that just go, wow, that creates a passion and an excitement. And as you've gone through the years, and you've probably met a lot of other people along this path that have the same passion as yours, there's something that triggered you to take this passion and amazing experience, expertise, success. You've now turned it into giving back in Diamonds Unleashed, which I love the name, by the way. Tell us all about the nonprofit and what you're doing. So,
I have, within the fine jewelry world, I have reached a level of success that I'm very, very proud of. I worked 25 plus years, very, very, very diligently. And I achieved a level of success. And I came to the point where I love working. I wanted to continue to work, but I wanted to give back. And so I thought about it, and I thought, what can I do? How can I do that? And I thought about what I'm good at, which is design and creating and bringing product to market and, marketing, PR, all of that stuff. And then I that's what I'm deciding to do. So it's like turning your passion into action. And I actually recently, we changed the name from Diamonds Unleashed to Unleashed because there are unfortunately negative connotations associated with diamonds, like A, they're only for wealthy people, or B, the whole conversation about blood diamonds comes into play. And it became something that I would have to kind of talk around or spend as much time talking about why that isn't necessarily the case. So now turning the whole thing into Unleashed is so much even more powerful because it gives us much more room to play. And then, like, for instance, this activation that we're going to be doing with women in India, that's going to be called Unleashing India. And each region that we go into, it will become an active verb. Like, we're already thinking about next year if it's China, so unleashing China. And so then it becomes like the brand is unleashed. And then the activation, the job creation program that we'll be doing in each region then becomes the action word, unleashing. And I feel really, really good about it. And so we're basically, two things: supporting nonprofits who focus on girls' education, because I believe without an education, it's very difficult to do a lot of things. And this year we're picking Dress for Success and Girl Up. Last year we supported Girls Who Code, and She's the First. So it's supporting girls' education, and it's also seeking, creating these job creation programs for oftentimes marginalized women, and, jobs create opportunity, jobs create independence. And I saw that in my own life. I mean, I was a single mom for 5 years, and had I not had my business of creating and designing product, bringing it to market and being able to make a living off of it, my story would not be a good one. I would have been on my parents' couch with my 2 children. And so I really appreciate that, and I want to help. That's really what I'm doing now. Is I've decided I want to devote my life right now to not only supporting education, but to supporting job creation programs to help women create sustainable, self-reliant work for themselves. And it transforms lives. It transformed my life. And so that's kind of what I want to do.
I just love it. And, I think I got more right now than what I was going into this interview, realizing about the passion behind this. And, having been a single mother myself during a period of time with 2 children, right? Having been in that position when you are financially responsible for other lives and wondering, right? Like, that's a whole nother world that it's hard.
I never got 1 penny. Not 1 penny in child support or alimony. And when you don't have that, you don't have an inherited money to fall back on. And and you're living in New York City, PS, which is an expensive city to live in.
Yeah.
And it is all on your shoulders. I mean, that is motivation unlike any other. And thank God I had my business and I was good at it, and I worked my butt off, and I was able to make it work. And women have, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I think women are so much stronger than men in so many different ways. And I think that, especially with children, it's really up to the women. And there are so many stories, like what you just said. You were a single mom. I was a single mom. There are so many stories about women being single moms and having to have the weight of the world on their shoulders. And yet they come out on the other side. They come out stronger and smarter. And now I honestly feel like I could do anything, because I feel like I did the hardest thing. I raised my kids. I was able to actually put them in private school here in New York. I feel like I could do anything. And I think that, women really are so, so strong and powerful. And women are the child bearers. Women are, for the most part, the one raising the children, giving them, the ethics and the values and the morals that will help drive them and shape them, and then have them be contributing members of societies. And that's just powerful.
It is. And you should hear your voice. You are so on fire right now. It is.
But I believe it.
I know. And I love it, because it's like I'm sitting here smiling going, this is exactly it. And you know what's funny? I'm having a moment. I just have to tell you this, that just not too long ago, I just did I spoke for a huge group of women around the world. And I really fine-tuned that presentation, and what I was doing was really awaken the power within. And as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking it's unleashing the power within. and unleashing, and what you're doing, taking your passion and having been there and doing this. And you know what our kids got? They know, they've seen a strong woman. They've seen strength. They've seen resilience. They have seen, I always say, Kara, in the face of adversity, do you get better or bitter? And when faced with trials, do you allow them to define you or refine you? And I think why I was so gravitated to you with the diamonds and your whole philosophy of giving back is I truly believe that every human being, men or women, there is a diamond within us. And it's during the tough times, the fires of life, that we become refined and we begin to sparkle. So I just get so excited about what you're doing because it's with such passion and grace that you are saying you're taking literally the jewelry and diamonds. And that philosophy to me is so apropos to what we can do for people to help them rekindle that, right?
Well, yeah. And I also think, being a gemologist, being an expert on diamonds, I've always thought that the words that describe a diamond are perfect at describing the most wonderful aspects of women. I mean, think about it. Beautiful, strong, multifaceted, unbreakable, and brilliant. Multifaceted is absolutely by far my favorite because women can juggle 10 balls in the air and men are just much more linear thinkers. And I think that, so to say to young women, to say to women, you're like a diamond. You have these wonderful attributes. Think about that as being what and who you are and what you can achieve. And so that's why this job creation program that we're working on in India and beyond, I think is just very powerful because I started it in Cape Town last year in South Africa, working with women in 2 townships. And we created a beautiful line of clothing for little girls and these cute little hand crocheted pocket mice that live in the pockets of the clothing. And we named the pocket mice Diamond the Pocket Mice. Oh. Diamond the Pocket Mouse because she reminds little girls that they're beautiful and strong and multifaceted and unbreakable. And my daughter, the younger one, always, when she was very little, had this tiny little dog, probably 3 inches, that she carried everywhere. And little girls love that tactile thing and they love to carry things. And I thought, what a wonderful representation. You have this beautiful little outfit that has this, we custom designed the fabric to have these little diamond shapes all over them. And then in the pocket to have this cute, adorable little hand crocheted pocket mouse whose name is Diamond. And then for the mothers to know that this product was created by the townships of Cape Town are beyond impoverished. Yet there are some extremely talented women that live there. And women in one township made the clothing. Women in another township made these hand crocheted pocket mice. And, we kept 64 women employed during the winter months of Cape Town. And, so some people, 64, that's not that many women. It is, everyone makes a difference. Every person is of value. Yes. And that now I'm growing this whole program because now we're adding retail partners. We're adding media partners. So now instead of 64, maybe it'll be 164 or 250 women. And then the next year it will be 400 or 500. And so I think it's, you start somewhere. A lot of people want to get involved. They want to do something, but they're like, gee, am I going to make a difference? Of course you're going to make a difference. Start with one person. That's making a difference because that one person is going to touch 2 or 3 others. And especially with women, you affect one woman, you're going to affect her family, her children, her community. And women are storytellers, right? Women communicate. Yep. And so I think that you touch one person, touch 5 person, make a difference in one person's life. And that's value.
Oh, I am and I did not realize. I saw when we were in New York together for International Women's Day and when I met you, but by the way, kudos and huge, huge gratitude, Kara, to everyone out there listening. Kara's company donated a very nice, large sum of money to Girl Up and the United Nations Foundation, all a part of doing this for young women. And you showed us the pocket mice. I got to see that. And you and I were sitting there and I'm like, but I didn't realize when you just said 64 women over in Cape Town, you know what? You're right. It's the ripple effect. Each one of those women were not only empowered and had all of those qualities of the diamond and just feeling so liberated and, that sense of confidence and all the things you gave them, but that touched in the ripple effect those families. And you're right. They're storytellers. So here you go. You're getting ready to do the same thing. And even it sounds like a bigger scale in India. Tell us about that. Because I got to see a piece of the clothing.
So in each area I love India. I was there with some girlfriends a few years ago, and India is very well known for its beading and embroidery. And Indian women often wear the round circular elements on their forehead, and those are called bindis. So taking the bindi as the design inspiration, we created this beautiful organic, sustainable cotton T-shirt, all of which will be created in India. And these women are going to hand bead these beautiful multicolor circular patterns, again referencing the bindi, onto the shoulders and then down the sleeves of the shirts. And they're so chic, they're beautiful. And the idea behind them is, you could wear it with jeans, you could wear it really dressy. Like if I wore it with leather pants that day. I did a speech to an operation called Generation W down in Jacksonville in front of 1,300 people last Friday. And I wore it with the skirt. It can go high, low, and it's beautiful. And so we're going to be working with women in a village called Bareilly, which is outside of Delhi. And having media partners, having retail partners. So Lord & Taylor's has already committed to carrying the shirts. I have a meeting tomorrow morning with Bloomingdale's, and we've got other meetings set up. We're going to do some custom work for some other companies. So really highlighting the work of these very talented women, bringing a spotlight to their talents, to what they're doing, and then creating sustainability by virtue of the fact that once you introduce to the market the beautiful, talented people and the product that they're creating, other companies have already said, oh, I want to work with them. I want to do something with them. And, when you're creating product, the story might be fabulous. It does, but if the product is not beautiful and chic and desirable, it goes no farther than you buying a piece from me to be a friend. And that really doesn't go very far. But what I'm good at and what I've been doing for 25 years is designing and creating beautiful product, bringing it to market. So these shirts, I know I could have sold 300 of them on Friday. I mean, they're beautiful.
Oh, it was beautiful.
They'll retail for $100. So you want it because it's beautiful and you want to wear it tonight to a party. And then when you hear the story of what it's doing and how it's helping, and then it becomes even more desirable. And then as people wear it, there's, it's creating a story. Oh, wow. Where did you get that shirt, Holly? That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I got it from here. And this is what it means. Then you really begin to see a ripple effect.
It's the wearable art. It's right back to what you were saying about the jewelry.
Exactly.
And this, has been, when I think about the hands and the hearts, the hand beating, and the women that have been a part of making those, also that you're giving them jobs. Like you said, this is job creation. So Kara, I have to know. So I know India is in the future, very quickly around the corner. So we're going to, I'm so excited about that. Go back to Cape Town though for a moment. Were you able to have, I would love to hear a success story or a celebration. One of those 64 women, did you ever get to have a conversation with one of them and get to see it in their eyes, right?
Yeah. So it happened so organically. I was visiting my daughter who was studying there, and we did a lot of the touristy things you're supposed to do. And then I had always heard about the township. So I said, let's go to visit the township. So we visited a township and we went through and we spent some time there. And the next day we were down on the water. It's called the Watershed. It's this big shed, and different artists and artisans can apply to have their products sold there. And I love that kind of craft related stuff. So I said, okay, let's go walk around there. And I saw the most beautiful line of clothing for little girls. And then I found out that it was made by the women in the townships. And I went crazy. I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. So I met the woman who started this. It's called Sojo. And I met the woman who started it. Then I met the woman who's in charge of the collective of the seamstresses in the one township. I organized right away. I was like, okay, let's meet. I had breakfast the next day. I met her again the day after. And what they were saying is, these women are not going out. They're not buying themselves new outfits. They're not going out and buying themselves new TVs. What they're doing is they're paying for food. They're paying for their children to have extra books, have extra clothing, have extra, school supplies. It's basic need. And that probably doesn't come as a surprise to all your female listeners is, especially when you have children. And you know this, Holly, and same thing with me. It's like, as a mother, your first and foremost, most important thing is you have to take care of your children, and you want to raise good, contributing, intelligent members of society. And if you have to work harder to get them to have extra books for school, or to perhaps go to a better school, you're going to kill yourself to make that happen. And that's what these women are doing. They're creating beautiful, beautiful work. And it's just basic needs. It's supplying basic needs for the family.
And that's what brings such pride. And that's what brings such joy, right? And they're not only getting to have a job to do it, they're getting to do something that plays to their creativity and their brilliance and their gifts.
And they're so proud of it. Honestly, if you go on Instagram right now, my Instagram is Kara Ross NY. Or if you go on unleashed_world, but go on mine. And if you go through the feed, you'll see pictures of these women in Cape Town holding up the mice that they created. And I commissioned them to do a 3.5 foot hand crocheted mouse, because I put them in the store window that I had on 60th and Madison. And it shows them making the mice. They're so proud. They're proud because they're super talented artists. And of course you should be proud of your work, right? But it's a different level of, it's wonderful. You know, it makes you feel so good because you're highlighting their work as an art. They're artists.
They are. And they're believing that they can do something, and they can do something amazing and be a part of it, right? Like that it's more than just creating something. It's knowing that where that's going to be going and the difference that can make in people's lives.
And can I tell you what we did yesterday?
Sure.
I had extra of the clothing and the little mice. So we're working here in New York with New York Presbyterian Hospital. And we wrapped up in a really beautiful boxes and with ribbons and all that, an outfit. And each outfit obviously had a pocket mouse in the pocket. And we delivered them to New York Presbyterian Hospital, the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital, for new mothers in need. So a mother in need that would go to deliver a baby girl will leave the hospital not only with her beautiful baby girl, but with an outfit for her girl that represents, the support and the artist and the creativity. And that also is on my Instagram from yesterday that you can see. And we're also working with two charities down in South Florida for that as well. So giving the outfits to mothers in need.
Oh, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. And you know what, Kara? I think this is your whole world, your next 25 years. It's just unbelievable. Look at what you've done in the last 25 years. And now just since 2012 with Unleashed.
Honestly, I'm so much happier. I mean, I love making beautiful jewelry and wearing it, but this is so much more powerful. And it's so funny because I had a breakfast with a girlfriend of mine yesterday. She's one of the top documentary filmmakers in the country and has done and you should talk to her, Holly. She's great. She's done Misrepresentation. She's done The Hunting Ground. She's doing a documentary that is called The Eagle Huntress that was picked up by Netflix and is going to be turned into an animated film. Anyhow, she's a rock star. And I was telling her about all this, and she was like, Kara, I totally see like you're going into all these different areas and doing all this and all this good work. She was like, think about, it's called Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown.
Yes.
He has a TV show. She was like,
yes.
Why can't you turn that? Why can't you turn what you're doing into this, where you're going into these different areas, identifying these fabulous artists, creating product, bringing it to market, shining a spotlight on all their talents. And I thought, oh God, wouldn't that be fun? I love to travel. So I thought that was awesome.
Well, wait a minute. This could be huge. And I actually think she's onto something. Fun. And you know what this is something for us to talk about, Kara. After the show, I think we've got some great ideas here. I would love to help you in that and support you in that. I think there's so many things. And you know what? This country and our world, people look at the gravitation to reality. Anything reality is what people want. They want to see real things happening, right?
And happy things and
yes.
positive things, because there's enough negativity in the world. And all you have to do is open that, look at the front page of the paper and see, a chemical attack in Syria that killed how many children yesterday? I mean, it's pathetic. So people want to be, what is the good that's happening? And, I loved her idea. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to go about it, but I love it. And one of the other things that we are going to be doing, and we're going to be starting in India, and every on the go forward in each new area that we're going to be working in, not only are we going to be identifying and working with women, bringing product to market, but we're going to be I'm going to be injecting a $25,000 microfinance loan program into the area. So, and how that works is we're working with a large company called Kiva. And they work with local and NGOs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're going to be working with them. It's so exciting. So in Jaipur, in India, women, so you can identify, you can say, I want this $25,000 to go towards women that are involved in craft. So, and I can send you a link. It's really unbelievable. So the average size of a loan is about $300, $400. Women apply for the loans, and they're using the loans for many different things. But, it's like to buy more thread, to buy more textiles, to buy more grain, to buy whatever they're working on, and then they sell it in the local markets. The payback rate of the loans is over 93%. And here again, these women are creating jobs for themselves. You're giving them an opportunity to grow their business to a different level. And then you can take that money once it gets paid back, and you take that money and you deploy it into another area. So you can see how you're creating even more jobs. Like, I'm doing the one jobs with the t-shirts and the bindies and the hand beading. Well, then this is a whole other area. So if you think about, if the average size of the loan is $300 and you take $25,000, I actually haven't even done that math, so I don't even know.
I know, but that's like making me go, wow.
Yeah. But anyhow, but that is a whole other level of job creation and expanding people that have small businesses. How do they grow their business? Because, again, in growing their business, they're again using these for basic needs, and also it makes you feel good. It's a sense of independence. India is a very patriarchal, male-dominated society. And so this is giving women more independence. And so I feel great about that. There again, could be another Anthony Bourdain, like going and seeing how the microfinance loans are deployed, what the women are doing with it. And then you tie in Amazon.com and you sell all the product on Amazon or Lord & Taylor or Bloomingdale's. And anyhow, so there's lots of different opportunities.
But look at you go. This is what happens to you, isn't it? You're like, and then we could do this, and then it could go here. And you're already seeing. But I think you're onto something. Wouldn't everybody love to know and see how those loans turn back when you just said 93%, right? Mm-hmm. And what people are doing. And it's not just the money. It's what that's empowering people to do. And in these small communities and in these villages, the difference we can make. But okay, this brings me to, and we could go on for hours. I could just sit here and keep going. I have so many things, but as we wrap this up, I need to ask you something. When you think about, and you had no idea I was going to ask you this. So when you think about everything you've learned, who you are today, all this glorious goodness of you and what you're doing in our world, go back to your early 20s. And if you were to give your younger 20-year-old, 21, 24-year-old self advice based on what you know today, what advice would you give her?
Maybe, I think a lot of, as a young woman, you're concerned about making people happy or thinking about what people think about you more. And I would say that what I've learned in, through the years is it really, frankly, I don't even care what people think about me, because I know how I feel about myself, and I know who I am and what I stand for and what I believe in. And people can project things onto you. Oh, I don't believe this, or I don't, what about that? And you know what? You have to just say, who cares? Mm-hmm. You have to just believe in yourself. So I would say that I learned that more and more and more each passing year. But I would say it would have probably been better to have, it doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, whatever, just have to, and that always comes back to believing in yourself, right? And and just believing in yourself more, I guess, and not worrying about what other people think, because you have to believe in yourself and your morals and your values. And I'm very, very clear about what's important to me, and really have always been. But I think you're just not as aware of that when you're younger.
It's so true. It just reminds me of something that I'm very passionate about. And that is, especially when I'm out there anywhere speaking, men, women, it doesn't matter, but are you creating a life that fits you, or are you living a life of fitting in? And
that's good.
Well, I think so many of us, and many times it takes till we're much older, already done so many things, right? And lived probably because we're going, why am I miserable, right? It's amazing how many grown adults are miserable, but they're so far from doing what they love or from their passion and their soul. But it's so true. It's like, don't worry about fitting in. Start creating a life that fits you. And that's been your story. You've created a life that fits you and your passions. And I have to do this one story though, because I'm having a moment. Remember when we were sitting at dinner in New York and we were both so tired, but we were sitting there and we're like, when you meet somebody and you can't get in, you're like, we're like two little girls, like, and Kara, do you remember I asked you, oh my gosh, I am dying right now. I remember sitting there and going, so what made you pick Girl Up? Because we're there for Girl Up and this big, all this wonderful stuff you're doing with them. And do you remember when you looked at me and you go, well, I decided a couple years ago I wanted to start giving back. And I didn't know how. So I hired somebody to help me figure it out.
Yeah, I did. Because what I had been doing for years was so different, and I thought I better be educated about this, because that's always a good place to start, education, right? So I did. I hired someone, and I said, because I didn't know how to vet the different charities. I didn't know how to. There are so many fabulous charities out there, and you really have to drill down and identify what's important to you. Where do you want to give back? And then within that platform, there's still many to choose from. Well, how do you vet the programs? How do you vet the efficacy of the monies that are being given to them? How do you vet out the different programs, et cetera, they have? And I learned a lot, and I'm very glad I did that.
I loved that. I mean, that made my day. I was like, you know what? Everybody needs to hear that. So if somebody's listening to this and they are so inspired that they want to figure out, how to give back, and they're not sure what works, it needs to be synergistic for your soul and what you're doing, right? You've got to give back in a way that you can hear it in Kara in your voice. This is such a part of your DNA. It's a part of who you are. You're so excited and you're on fire. And if you're going to give back, you need to feel on fire about it and be excited. So I just love that you did that. And now I know we got to wrap up, but I just have to tell us, for anybody that's listening to this and they want to learn more about you, what you're doing, the Unleashed, how do you want them to reach out to you, Kara? What's best?
Well, my email is kara@kararossny.com. And I am always on my phone and email. And my Instagram is Kara Ross NY. And we have one Unleash-World. And that website, which is still being developed right now, is unleash-world.com. But probably email is always best. And I'm always checking email, and I always respond to everyone's email. And thank you so much, Holly. Thank you for giving me this platform to talk about what I'm working on. I really appreciate it, and it was lovely meeting you. I do love this Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, I know. We're on to something. We need to keep that one going.
India together.
Okay, let's do it. Well, like I said, I'm going to introduce you to some amazing people in India, and unfortunately it's not working out for me to go in May, but we're going to do that. I just thank you. You are in my life for the rest of our lives. We are connected, girlfriend. So thank you.
I appreciate it. I look forward to it.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Okay. Alrighty, bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me for another awesome celebration of you. If you were inspired by this story, please share it with your family and friends and hashtag Your Story Matters. I'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment on iTunes. And absolutely, please come to my website, hollydowling.com. Leave a comment there too, and while you're there, pick up your free gift. Most importantly though, just remember that your life is a gift from God. What you do with it is your gift back.